They don't have very many cemeteries like this, and there's a lot of history here.
Predating Hollywood, California by 40 years, Richmond's Hollywood Cemetery has its own celebrities, including 2 U.S. presidents and 1 vampire, according to a local legend. As unique as the thousands of permanent residents interred here are the cemetery's vast collection of grave markers, spread out over 135 acres. And on this day, Brittany Chenault spotted a recent addition.
So I haven't seen that before. When we were walking around, I just noticed the really big tree and then where it was cut.
It's a bench if you want it to be. It's a tombstone if you want it to be. My style is I tried to have art with a twist.
For 30 years, Jake Van Yahres and his family's tree company have looked after and cared for the thousands of trees throughout Hollywood Cemetery.
A lot of people always stop me and ask about Hollywood, and I just say, I know the trees a lot better than the graves. I joke, most people drive around or look at Hollywood like this. Like, I drive around Hollywood like this, and just that's literally what I always do.
Near the corner of Westvale and Freeman, there stood a lone giant white oak tree, one of several roughly the same age, until Hurricane Isabel came through in 2003, taking out all but 2.
In 2021, a storm came and blew that one over,
leaving the one oak tree here, and it wasn't looking too good.
And every year it's declined. So we tried different things on it. Nothing would work.
Though it had effortlessly lived longer than any of the cemetery's 80,000 permanent residents by more than a century, time, it seems, had eventually caught up to it.
Basically, from last year to this year, it had completely died. A number of people have asked, well, why did you have to chop it down? And it was a liability and a safety hazard.
So this past summer, Jake and company methodically cut down what they could of the massive tree. And it was only then,
when it goes from light to dark, that indicates a year,
that Jake was able to precisely calculate just how long the oak tree had stood.
And so this one has 254. That sounds like a lot, but then if you put it into context, that's older than our country, which is pretty amazing. That's super cool.
It is super cool, Jake. Also cool are these dark spots at the top of the stump caused from an iron fence that the tree grew up around. This prevented them from cutting the tree any further. You can't cut through it, or?
Well, you can try, but it won't be very fun if your chainsaw hits it.
This snag got Jake to thinking. Maybe there was a way to still preserve the tree's legacy.
You got kind of thinking, there's all these tombstones around here. There's never been a tree tombstone at Hollywood.
Not to be confused with this tombstone in Hollywood resembling a tree. Sorry, Jake, you were saying?
I actually sketched it and then presented it to Hollywood, and right away they were like, let's do it. I would like people to appreciate, just take a step back and appreciate how old this tree is, how much it's seen.
With the centuries-old oak tree's history now preserved and under the watchful eye of the Van Yahres Tree Company, Jake hopes his creation will inspire.
I hope that it can maybe spark an idea from someone else that says, we don't always have to remove the entire tree. This was in a cemetery, so that's why that sparked this idea. But all trees aren't in cemeteries, so perhaps there are thousands of ideas of what we could do to help people appreciate trees a little bit more.
So if you'd like to come see this unique tombstone for yourself, Hollywood Cemetery is open daily from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then in November, when we throw the clocks back an hour, open till 5. In Hollywood Cemetery, I'm Chris Jenkins for CBS 6 News.